Well, hey, y'all. We're back here at 50 Shades of Blonde, and with me is my friend,
Jill Branson. She never ceases to amaze me.
I'm just practicing my Southern accent.
Oh, yeah. The light just came on. Okay.
So we are back with another guest, another fan favorite, and so I am pleased to introduce you to our friend, Sally Allen, who is a brand new author. Welcome, Sally.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. It's very exciting to be here. Thanks for inviting me to 50 Shades of Blonde. Now I know what you were talking about.
This is your first time.
Yes, yes.
So how are you feeling about it?
Let's see. I have no idea what to expect. If you know Missy Day, you'll have no idea what to expect. You just walk into it and you go with the flow. So, what should I expect, Missy?
What should she expect, Jill?
Oh, boy, don't ever say that to Missy. So let's hear about your book.
My book. Well, let's see.
Oh, you need to hold it.
Oh, my book, Triumph Over Failure and Fear. How about I tell you about my why I wrote my book. I wrote my book because I want to use it as a tool to help people. I want to help people live resilient lives, but not just live in resilient lives, because I believe that when you have a purpose-driven life, then you're able to live a resilient life. I feel like without purpose, there's no hope. And if we have that purpose, then we'll understand what it will be to live resiliently. So that's my why.
So if you haven't read the book, so I just want to say this. If you have not read this book, so it's Triumph Over Failure and Fear, Finding Your Resilience in the Face of Adversity. And so the first time we became acquainted with Sally was at Like Minded Lunch, when she
Yes.
shared just a piece of her story and left us all speechless at the table. And so this book has been a long time coming. And tell us a little bit about how you made that transition from telling it out loud to putting it in book form.
So I have a new hashtag. All roads lead to Missy Day. So Missy and I met years ago, and she invited me to speak at this like-minded lunch, and I was just sharing my story. I just sometimes tradition dictates how we feel, not just tradition, but culture. And for me, my story is just normal. So when Missy said, come share your story, I'm like thinking, maybe everybody has a story like this. I'm just gonna go share my story, tell these people all about me. But when I was finished and I looked around the room, I was shocked because people were crying and their jaws were just dropped. Like, is that really your story and you think that's normal? So needless to say, Missy started taking me to what's your story to speak, and people were saying, Sally, you need to write a book. And if you have a coach, and a very good coach, like Missy, she'll push you to write a book. So she kept pushing me to write my book because she said, my story is powerful, and we all have powerful stories. So she kept pushing me, you have to get this in written form because you can't be in 100 places at the same time. So get it out there, get it in people's hands, and to help people so they can relate, right? Sometimes people say, I don't have a story. And I feel that we all have stories because we all have different audiences that our story will relate to. And that's how this journey started. In fact, it's very difficult to write about yourself. A friend had, and then putting it out there. That's the hardest part, because it's like putting a piece of your soul out there for the world to just pick apart. And, but you know what? I am living a life of bravery and resilience, and so I put my life out there, and I hope that somebody can say, if she can do it, I can do it.
Amen. I have to say that I love your book, and the thing that I love the most about your book is so even when Sally tells her story, like she has at What's Your Story, you see the whole thing taking place in your head, and you can see it clearly, and that helps, get that engagement with the person that's reading, And you are very brave after, hearing your story and then especially reading it. And I think I told you this. I read your book in little chunks because it's a story and a half, and I could only do it in chunks. And I think if you're a person that's ever been through any kind of trauma or abuse, things of that nature, it's gonna trigger you for a minute, I'm not gonna lie. But the beautiful part of this story is she brings you through that journey
Right.
and shows you how she moved out of that. And that's where the hope and the inspiration, is for your readers.
Yeah, and you would put it and you're probably one of the first people to read my book in its rawest form, and now when people are reading it, they're trying to explain to me what they're feeling, and they can't. But you had said something to me that I share with them, that when you read the chapter, it takes you to a dark place, like in a dark hole. But when you read the present moment, it brings you back out of that hole. And they're like, yes, that's what we're feeling. Like we're reading and there's such despair in the story. And then you just bring out back, in that present moment. So thanks for the inspiration.
You're welcome. I'm very proud of you that you
Yes.
put that book out there. It's a lot. And, and anytime you write a book, that anytime you even talk about your family or, your family's not going to be happy. And
Right.
that's just the way it is. But, it's your story, and you can tell your story however you want to tell it.
Yes, and that's what I've been doing. You mentioned something that I am brave. I think I'm not brave because I am fearful. I was so fearful to put out my book. It took me 2 years, and I agonized so much over it. But despite my fears and what I feel, I just move forward into bravery because that's the life I want to live. That's a life I want people to see. That's my image. That's my brand. That, what? I'm scared. I don't want to say bad words, but crapless. But in spite of all that, I move forward in bravery. And so can you, regardless of what you're going through.
So what would you, well, first of all, a couple of things I want to make sure that we cover before we end the segment. So what would you say to somebody that's out there that has a similar story and is afraid? And then also, we want to make sure that we mention like what you're doing now, so we can make sure that everybody knows what Sally Allen is all about right now.
I would say that when you read my book, you'll see that, and many times I was so fearful, but I stepped out into bravery. And there are many tools in here to help you do that. If you read my book, like with that present section we're talking about, there's these tools to help you get over that fear and move forward. They're just tips and tools. And even in the last chapter, where it's called, Take Back Your Power, it's a very powerful chapter on how to take back your power and how to live that resilient life. So that's my plug. Get my book if you want to know what I'm talking about.
How do they get your book?
So you can get my book on Amazon. It's on Amazon. Just type in my name and Triumph Over Failure and Fear. You can get it on the Hugo House, my publisher website, and you can also get it on Barnes and Nobles. Your next question? I talk
What
a
are you
lot,
up
so I
to
don't
right now?
remember.
Make sure you tell everybody what you're doing right now.
Right.
So right now, it's very exciting. I'm planning my book launch and my book signing party, which is on July 17th. Stay tuned. I'll be sending out more information on that. I'm also looking to launch my business. Well, my business has been launched, but now my brand is resilience. So I am a resilience coach. And if you're looking for a coach, Sally Allen. SallyAllenCoaching.com. I'm shamelessly putting plugs in there, but I learned from the best. So visit SallyAllenCoaching.com and connect with me there. And I look forward to hearing from you. And live resiliently. don't be afraid. Just step out into bravery and step out into your bold, beautiful self, because that's what you are.
Amen, sister.
Yes. I couldn't have said it better. That was beautiful.
So Jill and I are John Maxwell girls, and you're a John Maxwell girl. So are you still doing anything around that as far as business development, leadership, coaching, things like that?
I am. John, in fact, I have a client right now. One of John Maxwell books I'm using is Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect. And it's a really powerful book. It's also a book that ties into my brand, which is resilience, because sometimes we don't have that resiliency to not. Communication is very important, right? And communication, if we're not communicating effectively, then we could break that resiliency with people and what we do in life. So that's one of the books that I coupled with my business to help people to live resiliently.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So how do you see, from your perspective of being John Maxwell certified, how would you relate, like if you did a book of your life into your John Maxwell programs?
Well, a book of my life into John, oh, wow, that's a tough one. I would say that mine is about resilience, but mainly it is that it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter whether you have a college degree, it doesn't matter what you've done in your life, you need to step forward and do what you love. And you can do that until you're 100 years old, and her dad was a prime example of that, because even at 95, I think, he was still working. He was still working and doing what he loved. And that's my goal, is to inspire people to do that. And so with John Maxwell, everything is about inspiration. Everything is about relationships. And when you've got people like this in our audience, these are the people that bring you up. Get your circle, and bring yourself up with those around you. So.
And I think right now, with so many things like last year with COVID and like the world just feels kind of like unknown, right? People are looking for hope right now. And I think it's our responsibility to bring that hope and to be willing to share that hope with other people. And I think you can do that. You have such a platform now, Sally, to go out and just speak to so many things, and especially, women. And not that I want to like do a sexist thing here, but I think COVID, that whole experience, and the experience now is more difficult on women than I think it is on men, because we're more emotionally driven.
Yeah.
And so the guys can get back to work and things like that, and we're still kind of caught up in like, but what's happening,
Yeah.
So I'm excited for your book launch, and I'm excited for you to get the word out there more, so and get speaking gigs and all that stuff.
Thank you so much, Missy. I just want to say this one last thing, though. I think tribe is very important regardless of what we do. We can't stand fearless without our tribe. And I am so thankful for all of you here for being a part of my tribe. I couldn't have done it without you. For those days when I call you in panic and say, I'm not going to publish my book because everybody's going to be mad at me, or I'm scared out of my mind. And I call you at 11 p.m. at night, what do I do? I'm panicking. And you say, calm down, Sally. Calm down, we got this. So I just want to put it out there. You're right about COVID, and you're right about all this stuff that's going on. But we need each other. We need our tribe. Get those people that you can trust and surround you, and just know that's how we'll survive, and that's how we'll live resilient lives.
Awesome. So tell everybody once more how they can get a hold of you.
At SallyAllenCoaching.com. Let's go to my website, and there is a connect button on top. Just hit connect, and you can get a hold of me there, and you can get my book on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Hugo House website.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sally, for coming and hanging out with us today, and for sharing your book, and we wish you lots of love and best wishes.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with another guest in just a moment.